to play an Interstellar soundtrack, but you are a beginner or an intermediate piano player and you are not really sure what notes should you play and why. And today I will guide you through the Interstellar theme framework. Even if you are a complete beginner, you will be able to play it, but it will be also interesting for an intermediate piano players and even advanced piano players, because we will drastically improve the difficulty of this particular piece, but you will understand the logic of the process. I will show you even how to add a little bit of improvisation and variety. You can also use this method with other songs or piano pieces which you want to learn and memorize. Are you ready? Let's go. We will start from the basics, from the bass line, because the bass line will create the harmony. It will be essentially for you to know your bass line, your melodic line and harmony separately in order to combine it more effectively. Also very important, don't forget that the keyboard will be divided at some equal parts, because we only have 12 different pitches and 7 different notes, but somehow we have 88 different keys. It means that we have the same keys, the same pitches, but with a different height, with a different diapason, with a different range. And for this reason we came up with the specific separation of the keyboard. The basic octave, we will call it one-line octave. It's the middle octave of your keyboard. The most popular octaves will be your small octave and one-line octave. After the one-line octave, we will have two-line octave, three-line octave, four-line octave. One-line octave, two-line octave, three-line octave, four-line octave. Why it's important to memorize? Because when I will say to you the different names of the notes, I will also say in which octave should you play this note in the basic version. Yes, and if you remember your octaves, you can easily find it on your keyboard. Okay? With the bass note, we have this framework: the small octave, the great octave, the contra octave, and sub-contra octave. We will not use the contra octave and sub-contra octave, it's pretty rare, but we will use the great octave, the small octave, first line octave, two-line octave, three-line octave. So basically 5 different octaves. But at the first basic level, we will use 2 octaves, sometimes 3, no more. So first of all, play the F note in your bass line in the small octave. I would recommend to play it with your 4th finger, because after this we have to go up. The second note will be your G note, also in the small octave, and the 3rd note will be your A note. And after that we will go downstairs. So the movement is upstairs and downstairs. Okay, and now we will take your melodic line, find your one-line octave and play the A note with your 2nd finger. Find two-line octave and play the E note with your 5th finger. It will be the perfect 5th interval. And the rhythmical pattern, you can just memorize the soundtrack, it's pretty easy to copy. And you will have the 3/4 time. So you will count it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like the waltz rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In this case, you will be able to create this heartbeat, the pulsation of music very correctly from the beginning. After this interval, it's very easy. You just move your A note in one line octave, 1 whole step above. It will be a B note. And you leave your pinky on your E note. And the 3rd pattern will be absolutely the same, but you move your 2nd finger half step above and play it with your 3rd finger. So we try to play it in the most correct position of your hand. You don't need to somehow roll up your hand. You can just prepare it. And you don't need to make any unnecessary movements. Same with the left hand. You prepared all of your 3 notes prematurely. And now we can combine your right hand and your left hand. How can we do it? We play your left hand note with the first interval in the right hand. And after this you take another note in your left hand. Remember, it will be the G note. And with the G note you will change the interval in your right hand. So you will also switch to your second finger, to your B note. The same idea with the next interval. So the first 3 blocks in the combination. But the 4th block will be a little bit more trickier because you will go down in your left hand, but in the right hand you will use your 4th finger and you will play the next interval, the D note in 2-line octave. So you understand the pattern. Each new harmony 1 note upstairs, but your higher voice or your pinky will be the same. Yes, and in the left hand you will go 1 step downstairs from your A note. And you can repeat it endlessly, because the whole Interstellar soundtrack is just a repetition of these 4 different harmonies. If we will be more correct, it's even 3 different harmonies. But how can we make it more original, more interesting to listen? We can add something. Yes. First of all, we will start from your left hand. If you want to make your bass line more epic, more deep, you just double your main sound with an octave. Every time. It can work with any compositions. So basically you will play the same note, but with your pinky in your left hand, 1 octave downstairs. So it will be your great octave. And we will combine the great octave and the small octave. You can also use the same idea and enrich your right hand with the octaves. It will be trickier because you have to jump somehow, but just try it. And I think that you are beginning to understand the idea about improvisation and about some covers or arrangements. Basically, you will use the same idea, the same melodic idea, the same bass line, so you will not change any harmonies. But you can add something to these harmonies, especially if you understand what types of harmony will you use. In our case, we will use an A minor tonality. It will be the minor one, but we will not have any flats, any sharps, so any accidentals. For this reason, it's easy to start, to begin your piano path from the Interstellar composition. And with your growth, you can improve, upgrade, so to speak, your Interstellar performance, and you can make it harder, you can make it more difficult. For this reason, it will be better for you to understand the structures, the harmonies, the basic chords of your melody and bass line, because the bass line and the melody is just a representation of some harmony. And you will change this harmony, you will change these chords. For this reason, I recommend to be familiar with all chords, with all triads in your specific piece. I'm not saying in general, but if you want to play something, try to analyze. We have a lot of different tools. You can use ChatGPT. They can help you with the structuring of different harmonies, and they can break it down to some super elementary parts. Why it's important to do? Because in this case you will understand the framework in which you can add something, in which you can make it more difficult or less difficult. So you always have two different ways of practicing. First way, you just mindlessly repeat some notes because you have this idea, maybe some sort of belief that it's too complicated, and as a beginner you want just to repeat some notes in order to be familiar with the piano. But in this way you will be very constricted by your muscle memory. You will not be able to understand anything. You will just repeat some notes. And I propose in you another way in which you will invest a little bit more time, but you can use our modern world. As I have said, you can use an artificial intelligence in order to break it down, but theoretically understand what's happening. It's not really complicated. You just need to understand your scale, your tonality, just the basics of the tonality, the idea of tonality, why the tonality will even exist. And when you understand your tonality, you understand the home of each particular piece. In the case of Interstellar, you will understand that it's an A minor scale and A minor tonality. You will use the specific harmonies, the specific chords inside the A minor tonalities, and you can't use any other chords. You can't use any other notes. And these notes will not be a random notes. They will be a part of different chords. And it will be only 3 basic chords. So you can definitely remember 3 different chords even as a complete beginner. So let's try to analyze your chords in the Interstellar piece in order for you to make it more interesting, make it more improvisational. So first chord. It will be F major 7th chord. For this reason you have 4 different sounds which you can use without any problems. F, A, C and E. So you can definitely feel the deepness of my new interpretation, but I've used only these 4 different sounds. I can't use some random sounds. It will not work. The next chord, G major chord. So it will be G, B and D. And I will use only these 3 notes, no more, no less, but I can combine it in different octaves. For this reason, you also need to be able to find all of your notes immediately, as quick as possible. The same thing you will use with your next chord, the A minor chord. And you just add some chords sounds to your right hand or to your left hand. And you can change the rhythm, for example, yes? But only with these specific notes, A, C and E. So you learn your right hand, you learn your bass line, and you learn your harmonies. You understand what's happening inside the Interstellar piece. But after that, from the first lessons, you try to be as free as possible. So you're not relying only on your memory, on your muscle memory. You're relying on your understanding with the combination of your memory. So you remember your melodic line, you remember your basic line, and you understand your harmonies. You understand which notes can you use in order to make some sort of embellishments of your melodic line, of your left hand. And you will use this system in the future with all of your compositions. I can make it super difficult. Or I can make it easy. In any case, I will use the same set of different harmonies, the same set of the chords. For this reason, also very important. not just playing your scales, but inside the scales you will have different harmonies. You can play the tonical chord, the subdominant chord, the dominant chord. I mean, play it as an arpeggio. For example, in your A minor scale, tonical chord. Why it's important? Because your hand, your brain will remember how you will feel these specific chords in the different diapasons. So you will be able to combine it afterwards, and you will be able to play it as a chord or as an arpeggio, and your hand will be familiar with these specific movements, and you will be able to play it as a part of an interstellar composition, yes? Basically, it is your arpeggio. So the model will be the same, and the music, it's basically a combination of these structures which you can learn and remember separately while you're practicing your scales, while you're practicing your tonality, in order to combine it, in order to add it to any of your compositions. Of course, it will be not an immediate process. I just want you to understand the logic and the idea from the beginning, so you can practically and logically combine your practice session, combine your fingering movements and your muscle memory, so just memorization of some notes, with the understanding of what's happening inside the music. If you have some questions and you don't really understand what's happening inside the music, you can always check it with the ChatGPT or some artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence can pretty easily describe what's happening with the very easy language. So be creative with your process of learning, and be creative with your process of playing some soundtracks, playing some arrangements. Don't mindlessly repeat after someone. Try to use your creative mind. You can do it even as the beginner. And I wish you good luck in your musical and piano journey. I hope this format was interesting for you. If it was, you can always leave for me some comments. And may the piano be with you.